Mr. Lucas.
Madam Chair, before I begin my official question time, I'd like to ask to speak for a moment out of order, introduce a new member to the committee.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Jamie Herrera Butler represents the 3rd District of the Southwest of Washington State. She's done great work already on advancing STEM, conserving important resources, and driving technology progress. So welcome to the committee, Jamie. You'll find this is a fun committee, and that's not always the circumstances everywhere. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, and welcome. And when you mention STEM in any of your conversation, you get my attention. Mr. Lucas.
Well put, Madam Chair. Director, this FY20 budget request for NASA is $21 billion and $19 million in change, so to speak. The Obama administration's last request for FY17 planned to request $19.879 billion in FY20. How does the extra $1.14 billion request schedule for this year enable exploration, science, and aeronautics? What's the difference between the two?
So the focus now is getting humans to the moon as soon as possible. 2028 was based on the budget request. And the intent, of course, is to not just get humans to the surface of the moon, but prove that we can live and work on another world. And that's really what the extra resources have been applied to.
Continuing down that road, the budget request proposes delaying continued development of the exploration upper stage for the Space Launch System that, along with advanced boosters, is necessary to meet the congressional directive to develop a 130 metric ton launch vehicle. Why is NASA delaying that effort on the capacity?
Mr. Ranking Member, what we have found is that the development of SLS has proven to be more challenging than previously anticipated. So what we have attempted to do at NASA is focus Boeing on getting the core stage of SLS complete, and then from there we can move to the exploration upper stage. But the key is to be able to launch American astronauts to the moon, and we can do that with an SLS core stage and an interim cryogenic propulsion stage, and then we can get to that near rectilinear halo orbit around the moon where we're going to build the gateway. But the key is, and I agree with you completely, we need an exploration upper stage. The key is we've got to get the SLS built, or the exploration upper stage isn't going to be usable.
So we're still committed to developing the 130 metric ton launch vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Because if we're going to throw big things up, we've got to have a big capacity to do that.
Yes, sir. In this budget request, the intent was to delay. We have no intent to cancel. We're trying to get SLS complete so we can get humans in the vicinity of the moon as soon as possible.
Director, 2 years ago, Congress passed the Weather Research and Forecasting Innovation Act, which I sponsored and featured yourself and Ms. Bonamici as the original co-sponsors. Title III of the Act created a pilot program for NOAA to procure data from the private sector that could be integrated into the National Weather Service forecast. The law also directs NOAA to avoid duplication between public and private resources and data. The goal was to stimulate the private sector to provide data to protect lives and property and ensure U.S. leadership in weather forecasting. The FY20 budget request for NASA proposes to spend millions of dollars on sensors aboard the European Sentinel-6 mission to conduct global navigation satellite system radio occultation observations, what a phrase, to ingest into the U.S. forecast. U.S. companies are currently providing GPS radio occultation data to NOAA. This administration, and you in particular, have been stalwart advocates for commercial space enterprise. How is NASA ensuring they're not competing with the private sector? Aside from the direction in the 2017 Weather Act, current U.S. commercial remote sensing policy also directs agencies to rely on maximum practical extent on U.S. commercial remote sensing space capacities for fulfilling imagery and the needs of the military, intelligence, foreign policy, homeland security, and civil users. How are we balancing that public-private?
Sir, this is a critically important issue that our nation needs to be focused on. As you are aware, GPS radio occultation under laws passed by this committee and this Congress have enabled us to, for the first time in history, use commercial GPS radio occultation data and ingest it into our data assimilation systems and our numerical weather models, and in fact derive results that are meaningful. In other words, commercial data is no longer going to be really just a pilot program, but we're looking to operationalize that commercial data because of the work of this committee. And for that, I will tell you, our nation is grateful. As far as the operational use of GPS radio occultation data from our European partners, NASA is not involved in that. I would defer to my NOAA colleagues on how they intend to I guess, work that issue. But know that commercial data is a critical piece of the mix, and I'm happy to take that and get you a more complete answer after talking to my NOAA colleagues.
We'll follow up because we certainly don't want to push private industry out of the spectrum as hard as you and I work to make that possible.
Yes, sir.
With my remaining moments, Madam Chairman, I have the privilege of also introducing one more new Republican member of the Science Committee. Jennifer Gonzalez Colon represents Puerto Rico, which has a large R&D industry and a commitment to innovation and research. Jennifer is also a proud graduate of a STEM magnet high school, and she's told me she's excited to work on promoting STEM education. So you have another ally, Madam Chairman, when it comes to STEM.
Thank you very much. They can keep on coming. Thank you.
Yield back, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bonamici.
Thank you so much.